Okay, we have 3 Roper Whitney bench punches. One is normally set up for 5/16 diameter, one for 1/8 diameter, one for 1/2 inch diameter. Sometimes they get changed, so the best thing to do is measure the hole in the punch, in the die, or take a little piece of scrap steel and punch a hole in it. Check the diameter. Okay, this is the 5/16. The end of the punch has a little center punch in it, so if you bring it down just a little bit with the handle, and then raise your part up and slide it around until you feel the little center punch mark that you made go into the tip of the punch. Then punch the hole. We actually have a little bucket sitting right below it right now to catch the slug. Now sometimes when you extract the punch, it'll bend apart a little bit. This one didn't hardly at all. Okay, so now we are at, it says if punching the hole bends apart, gently use a soft hammer to flatten it. Use a plastic hammer. Something like this table right here works well, but I've got a great big burr. If you try to flatten the part and there's a big burr sticking out, it won't flatten it very well, so you want to clean the burr off. Okay, then it says shear the outer 45-degree corners on the foot-operated shear. Okay, so that's right over here. We've got a light on here to make it easier to see what you're doing. The foot-operated shear, you depress the yellow bar, that brings the blade down. Okay. This yellow bar up here clamps the part, but notice it has small feet, if you will, that come down. So you're going to have to put your part right underneath one of the feet. Okay. This gray piece here is the blade carrier. So what you want to do is you want to look straight down right between the blade carrier and the clamp bar and get your part lined up right on the edge of the blade. And I'm going to put it right underneath one of the clamping feet. Just line your scribe line right up with the edge. Watch your feet. And then when you bring this down, if you bring the shear down on the part, then you don't have any momentum. So raise it back up a little bit, get a little bit of run at it. Okay, that got one of them. Now we're going to turn it this way and cut this one. We can't cut this line or this line, it would chop off part of the part that we want to save. So I'll line up the other one and cut that one. Now there's 2 little triangles that just fell down here on the floor. We'll pick those up and put them in the scrap bucket because we'll recycle them. Okay, so that's all we can do with the shear. So now we need a hacksaw. And you want to get a hacksaw that's got fine teeth, like this 32 teeth per inch. And then I'm going to put my part in one of the vices. But the vice jaws are serrated. If you just put the part straight in the jaws, you're going to put a waffle pattern in your part. Drawing does not tell you to do that. So use these aluminum vice jaw protectors, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up to cut that short line first. So I'm going to orient that line vertically. So that means I've got the part in the vice at an angle. Now, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my thumb. I'm going to put the blade to the right of the line because the part is to the left of the line. So I'll set the blade just a little bit to the right of the line and then use my thumb and pull it backward, make a little starting groove. Normally you don't want to pull the blade backward while you're pushing down on it, but for this it's okay. Now I've got a little groove to start in, and so now I'm going to start my cut. And you want to watch because it cuts pretty quick. You don't want to cut too far and cut into the part that you want to save. I'm almost there. Got one more stroke of the saw. Okay, that's close enough. Now I'm going to take the part out and rotate it 90 degrees. So now my other cut line is vertical. This time I want to be to the left of the line. And put the part in the vise as far as you can. If you have it hanging way out, it'll tend to flex, which makes it much more difficult to saw. Okay, so now I'm going to set the saw slightly to the left of my line, which I'm having a hard time seeing. Same thing, make a little starting groove. A little tricky at that angle. Okay, just double check that. Okay. I started out really close to my line, so I actually angled away a little bit. I've got a bunch of extra material in here now. Now there's a couple ways you can do that, or remove that. You can use a file, you could gnaw it off with your teeth, or you could use a belt sander. I'm going to use a belt sander, but you need to be really careful. This belt sander has a pretty new belt. It's going to take this material off in a hurry.